Hey, Chad German here with Utah Electrician. Hey, I'm at school and we just got the curriculum for first year, and we are going to be teaching how to bend conduit. We're going to go over 3 bends: a stub 90, a 30-degree offset, and a back-to-back 90. Those are the things on the first year curriculum that we have to go over. They're not going to be on your journeyman test. These are just basic bends, okay? We are going to be using a foot bender. This is by Ideal, and as you can see here, you got your hook, your shoe, your degrees, your star, and then on both sides of this, but this one's easier to see, that is an arrow. For the most part, we're going to be using an arrow today. We will also use the star. I'm going to teach you guys how to bend 1/2 inch EMT, electrical metal conduit, or in the field we just call it conduit. Okay, so get ready, and hopefully this is a good video for you guys. And thank you. Please like and subscribe for more electrical stuff coming up. And this is meant for my students here at MTech. So on this foot bender, you can see the markings. Here you see the arrow, which you'll use for stub 90s and for offsets. Here you'll see a star, which you'll use for a back-to-back 90. Here's a notch. You'll use that for a 3-point saddle. We won't get into that today. And here are your different degrees of bend. You have a 10 degree, 22 degree, 30 degree, 45 degree, and 60 degree bend. Okay, so that's the markings that you'll use. You'll also see that it says stub 90, or sorry, it says stub 6 or 5 inches here for a 1/2 inch, and then stub 6 for a 3/4 inch, and a stub 8 for a 1 inch pipe. So those are your markings on your pipe. This is the hook, this is the shoe, and here is your handle. So those are the different markings on your pipe bender. That's very important to know before you get started. Okay, unfortunately, I don't have an assistant, so this is gonna have to do. For my first part, I'm gonna do a stub 90, okay? If you can look on your bender, right here on your 1/2 inch, it will say stub, let's see, stub 5, and so you'll put your hook on there and it will be 5 inches. Now, every size of bender is different. If you use a 3/4 inch, there's a 3/4 inch right here. It says stub, I believe 6 inches stub, okay? And then you got 8 inches for a 1 inch. This is going to be 3/4, and so here's my 1/2 inch bender. With a stub 90, you can see here you'll have a factory end. I always use my factory end for my stub. Put my conduit in. I leave about 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch outside the bender because I've had issues with bigger size of conduits. When I put the hook around and I push down the shoe, if you're too close in, it actually get your pipe to be oval shaped, and it's hard to put into a connector or a coupling. Okay, so here, kind of tight quarters. You simply want to put pressure on this back foot, hold your bender here, and then bend your 90. Okay, so you get that to about right there. That's a stub 90. On the journeyman test, you're not allowed to use a level here in the state of Utah, which I think is ridiculous. And actually, I can tell just looking at it, I overbent it, so you could use the back end of this bender, put over top of that, and take a little bit of bend out. But that is what we call a stub 90. And we would use this a lot of times in the electrical industry to go out of like a low voltage box to stub up above a ceiling, and then the low voltage guys just pull and push their wires down to stub 90. So that's a stub 90. A back-to-back 90 is quite a bit different. You can see here we have 2 different boxes. They've given me a little template to bend into. Now originally, I'm just going to teach you how to do a back-to-back 90. You could put a box offset on that first, on the pipe first, bend your offset, and then get it to length, put another offset on, and cut the pipe. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take a measurement. So my first measurement I'm going to take, this is hard because, again, I don't have anybody to help me to record this video, so I'm doing it with my left hand while I measure. From here to that line there, I'm at 12 inches. Okay, so from here to there, I'm at 12 inches, and then from here to here, I'm going to be at, what is that, 16 inches, okay? Move that back down. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to have to do some deduction on our pipe, and let me show you how to do that. So I got a fresh new stick of pipe, and I got my first measurement was 12 inches. Well, we know off of the half-inch bender that my deduction or my stub was 5 inches. So I have to deduct, because of shrinkage, I have to deduct 5 inches to make this work, because as the pipe bends, it actually shortens. So I'm going to say, what did I say, 12 inches? So we're at 7 inches. I make my mark on the pipe. I go all the way around my pipe using a pencil. Okay, this is a big thing to me. If you use a Sharpie, I know sometimes you're bending stuff and it's in walls. Go ahead and use a Sharpie then. But I just make a practice to always use a pencil, and they don't ever have to worry about looking at a piece of pipe that has a big piece of Sharpie that will never come off unless they paint it. So I have my mark. I put my arrow on the actual part that I deducted with my pencil. Okay, another thing is notice that my hook on my bender is facing where I pulled the tape measure from. Okay, and I'll put pressure again on my foot. Without pressure, you'll put a big kink in the pipe. So you want to put a lot of foot pressure. Half inch is very easy, so you don't have to use much. And then you get that right to 90. Okay, so next trick is I put my pipe bender on the ground, and then I put my pipe up against the pipe bender. My distance now, watch this, I'm going to show you I have to measure my distance from box to box to get this next bend. Hold on 1 second. You can see here I've got this bend bent, but I got to go to here. So I'm going to take a measurement. Let's see if I can do this again with my right hand by holding this phone. Hopefully you don't get dizzy, I apologize. I'm going to measure from that mark to that mark, and I'm at 26 3/8 from center to center. Okay? So we just saw that I have to go 26 inches. I'm going to leave this pipe bender down here on this pipe, and I'm going to measure exactly 20. It was 26 3/8. Okay? So I come over here and go 26 3/8. No deduction is needed. I mark that all the way around my pipe bender. Okay, I do not have a saw right now. I just decided to do this video. So now here's the kicker. You're going to take this pipe bender and move the shoe going away from where you bent. So opposite of the other one, and there's no deduction. You're not going to go off the star because you're doing an exact 90. You're not going to go off the arrow because you're doing exact 90. You're going to go off the star. Before, to do the first 90, you did an arrow, and now you're going to go off the star. So put this guy in here, go off my star, like so. I'm going to look at my pipe. Whoop. I'm looking at the camera instead of my pipe. I'm going to look at my pipe and make sure that this 90 is straight up and down. You guys are going to think I'm an amateur. Okay, apologize. Put foot pressure there. And then I'm going to bend this guy to a 90. Okay, so one thing to pay attention to is you could have a level, put a level on that guy, and then you'll see this back-to-back 90 should fit right here inside this slot. As you can see here, I didn't cut this right now. That's holding it up. I don't have a saw on me. It's out in the truck. I did this video just on a whim after being at a meeting here at school. So you would have an offset on that, and you'd have an offset on that. And and that fits right into that sleeve. So that's how you do a back-to-back 90. It's pretty simple. Now we're going to get into the 30-degree offset. Pretty easy to remember. In this case, we're going to go over a 3-inch obstacle, and the multiplier for this will be 2. So this is a 3. We're going to multiply that by 2, which makes it 6. And I'll explain what that means in a split second. So on an offset, if you have an obstacle that you need to go over, in this case we have a 3-inch block. So we want to go over this, offset down, and come down to the plane or the table like this. And actually we'd like to go right on top of that, so it would look more like this. Okay? In order to do that, we would have to do a multiplier of 2. So this we would have to do 6. And what that means is on our pipe, we have to take our first measurement, and then go 6 inches to our next measurement, and then bend these at 30 degrees. Now I'll show you how to do that. So today we're going to do this offset on a 30-degree offset over a 3-inch obstacle. So first thing I'm going to do, use the better tape measure here, is I'm going to do my first bend. I'm going to give myself 5 inches of clearance over this block of wood. So I'm going to do my first measurement at 5. Put it at 5 here. Excuse me. Okay, I'm going to go all the way around that pipe. And then I'm going to go from that mark, I'm going to go 6. Or you could measure from the front of that to 11. Same thing. Just make sure that you got your 5 here to here. Your measurement from here to here is 6, because that's our multiplier on a 3-inch. Now I'm going to bend this on the ground and show you guys how to do it that way. This is how I was taught. Now there's other ways to do it, and I'll show you reasons why not to do certain things, and if you're going to do those things, how to make that better. But on the ground, I bend this pipe until my handle of my bender is straight up and down. Okay, you would get a level, put that on there, make sure that bubble on that level is straight up and down. And then, because I can't do my offset with this little kick towards the ground, I'm going to have to do a little bit in the air. But you can do all of it in the air. I know I'm going to get comments on that, but I'm going to show you why I don't like that very much. I do it in the air. If I do it in the air, I make sure I'm down tight. I don't come up here, and I'll show you why in the next section of the video. Make sure I don't have a dog leg, which means I'm not cockeyed. I'm straight like this, okay? Bend it just enough to get myself in the clear off the ground. And then again, I'm going to bring myself straight up and down from the floor, and then I'm going to take my tape measure. I'm going to measure from the ground up to my obstacle and make sure I'm 3 inches. And I'm exactly 3 inches there. Okay. Now let me teach you on what not to do on this. Same measurement. I'm just going to use the back end of this pipe, the same pipe. I'm going to go 5 inches. And then I'm going to go 11, because it's from one mark to the next. I want 6 inches because it's a multiplier of 2, and it's a 3-inch obstacle. So I'm going to do this in the air. Okay, instead of bending on the ground, I'm going to do it in the air. You can do it in the air, but I recommend, if you're going to do it in the air, you're also using, by the way, you're using the arrow, and you're going from the measure from where you pulled the tape, and you're using the arrow. I like to choke down on this. If you come up too far, you got lift off of your pipe and it doesn't sit flat. So I get down in, even on 1/2 inch. If you're going to bend this, bend it close to the 30 degree. And then another thing, like I said, is you get your pipe straight up and down, which then this pipe here should go straight out. Okay, then you can rotate that. I want you to see what happens. I'm going to make sure I don't have a dog leg. when I pull clear back here rather than in close. So that's perfect. So what happens is this sits off. Let me show you. The air there is that I'm not flush with on that offset, which that's not going to be a 3-inch offset because I held back too far on my pipe, and that holds up a little bit compared to on the ground. That holds nice and tight from the second it lifts off. So if you are going to bend in the air, make sure you choke down on that pipe a little bit so that you don't have this problem where that comes off of the ground. Well, actually, let me fix that, sorry. So as you can see there, that comes off the ground, or off the table in this case. Over here, it does not. So just a couple tips there. But again, there's going to be some master pipe benders that watch this. There's going to be a lot of comments. This is meant for my first-year apprentice who is just getting into electrical school and who maybe only has residential experience. I'm telling you, as a first-year and a fourth-year teacher, the number one thing going into the journeyman test that my fourth-year guys struggle with isn't the motor controls, it's the pipe bending, because a lot of them don't sit in pipe. Pipe is not something that we use as often nowadays as they did back when I first got in the trade. I've done jobs where you pipe from outlet box to outlet box to outlet box to outlet box, home run back, everything in pipe. Okay, I've become very good at pipe bending because of that. But nowadays, they pull Romex, they pull MC cable, they pull Smurf tube, they pull all sorts of stuff, and pipe is kind of one of those last things standing. Pipe is still used today, so for those of you that are going to get irritated by me saying that pipe is a dinosaur, you know, if you've been pipe, you're a dinosaur, that's not what I'm saying. I know a lot of guys that all they know in electrical is how to bend pipe, and they make a good living. Okay, they're very fast, they're very efficient, their stuff looks really clean. And pipe work is just like a panel, and if you can make a panel look pretty or you can bend pipe, people just think you're an amazing electrician. You don't even need to know how to do a 3-way, 4-way, how to run a job, how to troubleshoot. If you can bend pipe and make a panel look pretty, you are awesome in our trade. So learn how to bend pipe, learn how in 1/2 inch, the more degrees you put into it, and the more kinks and stuff you have in it, the harder it is to pull wire. Okay, so make sure you get a bundle of stick if you're getting ready for the journeyman test here in the state of Utah. Get yourself a bundle of pipe, cut them into 5-foot pieces, and just sit and practice. Now these pipe bending tutorials that I did for you, they're not going to be on your journeyman test. These are basic bends that are required for my first-year apprentices. The bends that you're going to get on your journeyman test are 3-point, 4-point saddles, back-to-back 90s with maybe a saddle in the middle. Those are the bends on your journeyman and master's test. So if you got into watching this video to become a master pipe bender, I didn't teach you anything here. I taught you the basics on which I would teach anybody that's getting into the commercial industry, in part of the industry. Residential guys don't do too much to do like offsets, back-to-back 90s. They might do some stubs. So this would be a beneficial video for them. So I know I'm going to have a lot of hecklers. You know what? I don't claim to be a master pipe bender, but you give me time, I can make my pipe look just as good as any of you guys. I have a picture in an old company of mine when I was a first year. I bent a rack that looked gorgeous, and I walked into the office, and that picture, there was a picture on the wall of my rack that they had taken a picture of my work and put it up there, and it said the foreman's name on it. I didn't get the credit, but it feels great to have my work up on a wall in an office. So it's one of those things that it takes a little bit of time, especially with 1/2 inch. Once you start bending 1 inch and 3/4 inches, which most people bend, 1/2 inch becomes really easy, and I don't really bend too much 1/2 inch, to be honest with you. But in our journeyman test and here in school, you'll learn off 1/2 inch, which is very forgiving as a pipe. I hope you guys found this video helpful, and if you have any questions, make sure you hit me up. Thank you guys, and have a wonderful day.